Hi everyone. So I recently put out a video about self-confidence. And in order to support that, I thought I would just kind of start looking at some of the blockers for why people are unable to develop self-confidence or what people believe about self-confidence. And I think, there are seven kind of big myths that I think hold us back from really allowing ourselves to grow our self-confidence. Yeah, so I just wanted to explore some of those. It's not going to be a long video, so hold tight and maybe I can share some good information with you. So, look, self confidence is essential for a fulfilling life, right? If we don't have it, we may not take up all the opportunities we think we can. But there are many misconceptions about self confidence, and today I just want to talk about a few because unconsciously we might be carrying some of these. So just by putting them out there, might help everybody kind of get a bit of a shine a bit of light on maybe the reasons why we're not getting to where we want to get to. Maybe our self confidence isn't growing as quickly as we would like it to. All right, so there are seven myths, and the first myth I want to talk about is the idea that self confidence is innate, that you are either born with it, it's a genetic thing, or you're never going to have it and you don't have it. So it feels like it's more of a physical attribute rather than something that you can develop and grow. Well, the truth is actually the opposite of that, right? Self confidence is a skill that can be developed through practice and growing our experience, right? And I think growing experience is a really important aspect of developing self confidence. It's like a muscle, self confidence, and it gets stronger the more you use it. But small consistent actions will really help you build trust in yourself over time, and it's the trust in self that leads to an increase in confidence. And so, yeah, so the first myth is it's not something you're born with. It's actually something you can develop and grow. So the second myth is that self confidence means you have to be extroverted, or self confidence means that you have to be more outgoing. And I actually think that's a quite a big myth, because I don't think it's true that only extroverts can be self confident. I think self confidence, once again, like I said, it's about trusting yourself and your abilities, regardless of whether you are an introvert or an extrovert. You know, Introverts can be just as self-confident as extroverts, and really what it comes down to is inner belief. And I think it's inner belief generated from self trust, right? And it's not an outward personality trait. Self-confidence isn't about being extroverted. It's much more about knowledge of self and really trusting yourself. All right, so the next myth three: self-confidence equals arrogance, right? Yeah, I mean that's an easy mistake to make, but I think we need to make the distinction between self-confidence and arrogance, because they're not the same thing, right? Self-confidence is a healthy belief in your practical abilities, in your ability to take action, while arrogance is a kind of an exaggerated sense of self-importance, right? Now, self confident people are the opposite of arrogant people, because they're actually more aware of their strengths, right? What makes them great, but they're also aware of their weaknesses. And as a result, they don't really need to boast or belittle others or try to put themselves at the top of any kind of hierarchy. They're much more confident, taking care of their own kind of tasks and really kind of enjoying their own process, their own development. They're not looking to be better than anyone else other than themselves. Right. So the next myth is that confident people don't have doubts. They never feel fear. Right. I mean, and that's something we can often think when we look at a self-confident person, right? Like, confidence is something that ebbs and flows. It's like the tides, but some people are just better sailors, or they're better at navigating the oceans. So self-confident people really do feel fear, but they don't let it stop them. Like, they feel the fear and they do it anyway, because what they do is they acknowledge their fears, they acknowledge their doubts, but they choose to act despite them, because they have knowledge of self. They have self confidence. They have evidence. They have lots of reasons to trust themselves. And I think facing and overcoming fears in itself is a great way to overcome and build self confidence. But what I would say is, don't run at the thing that scares you the most immediately. Really start out small and be gentle and be kind to yourself, because what you don't want to do is, as they say, run before you can walk. So really give yourself a kind of a crawl, a walk, and a run in any kind of thing you want to do. It's like when I started making these videos, I didn't just jump straight into making videos. There was a whole process, which we'll talk about later. But um, that I really kind of wanted to build my self confidence in this space. Myth 5. So self confidence is, success leads to self confidence, right? And now I think that whilst this is a good myth, it's actually quite unhelpful, because I don't think you need to have huge success to feel self confident. And I think actually the truth is that self confidence often comes before you have success. So in some ways, you know, it's actually about self belief. And how do you believe in yourself? How do you grow that belief in yourself? Well, that requires imagination, right? And self confidence can be generated through visualization, through giving yourself space to think about what you would like to happen instead, right? And I think believing in yourself helps you take the necessary steps to really start the process, or even get into the space where you can even begin to start to get to where you want to get. So, yeah, myth 5 is that you need success before you can have self confidence, but I think the opposite is true, and necessarily so. So let's myth 6. So self confidence is constant, right? Once you have self confidence, it's permanent and unwavering. So I wouldn't say that it's a place you get to. I would say it's much more a process you acquire. So being able to access self confidence is important. I don't think it's something that's always there. It will always fluctuate, right? The truth is, it's normal to feel more or less confident at different times, in different situations, and it will change based upon circumstances and experiences, right? The key is to develop resilience, and the ability to bounce back from unfortunate events, disappointments. Not getting what you want, but really trusting that you can come back and do it again if you really need to. And lastly, the seventh myth of self confidence is that self confidence comes from external validation. Well, self confidence is actually not built from receiving praise and validation from others. Right? It feels like it is, because we live in a world that's full of fame, and everybody's kind of like liking everything, but it's not true, because true self confidence, as I spoke about before, comes from within. Right? And look, whilst we all love to get praise, we all love to be recognized, it feels great to get positive validation, or to get positive external validation. And it does provide a temporary boost to our confidence, right? It's true, it really does work. However, whilst external validation does boost our confidence, relying on it can make that confidence quite fragile, because as much as we draw confidence from other people, it can also be destroyed by other people. So once again, it's really important to understand that genuine self-confidence, once again, is rooted in self-trust, right? How much you trust yourself to do the things you say you're going to do. Self-belief, how much you understand that you can do the things you say you're going to do. And self-acceptance, so knowing where you are strong and where you are weak, and really allowing yourself to be comfortable with that. So um, they're the seven myths, and I would say, just to wrap up, that for me, and I've said this a couple of times over this talk, but self confidence grows the best, and when we do the things we say we would do. Now, unfortunately, because of all kinds of circumstances outside of our control, we aren't able to do that. But if we can continue to show up for ourselves and really do the things we need to do, then I guarantee your self confidence will grow. Start small, and yeah, see where it takes you. All right, I'll be making another video soon, but until then, thanks very much. Speak to you soon.